Good evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. Croatian lawmakers were back in session today after the summer break. During the opening Q&A, SDP MPs fired off a barrage of criticism at Prime Minister Andrej Plenković, accusing him of further polarizing the country, failing to take decisive action on issues, and lacking transparency when it comes to Agrokor.
Why are you hiding Agrokor's balance sheets? Why are you afraid of an investigative commission? And whose interests are you protecting? We have hired a globally recognized consulting firm for business and financial restructuring. We have hired one of the top 4 auditing firms in the world. We are operating on the principle that everything done at the company is fully transparent. Unfortunately, your policies are defeatist. They aim to buy time, they are inert, and aim only to give an impression that you are doing something when in fact you are not. You are just buying time until you get a position on the European Commission. Your job as Prime Minister is just a stepping stone for you. That's a pretty funny argument you are making, that I'm here as a stepping stone to get to Brussels. I came from Brussels, so it doesn't really hold water.
Božo Petrov asked the Prime Minister if he believed it was truly possible for food and retail tycoon Ivica Todorić to have built Agrokor into the huge business that it is now, all on his own, suggesting political and government insiders may have assisted him.
Could someone have done it on their own? Certainly not. A large number of people were involved in creating such a large company. With regard to responsibility, as we had discussed when you were part of the government, I will leave that up to the relevant authority. It's not the executive branch, it's the judiciary. Why do you refuse to support the creation of an investigative commission on Agrokor? You have the unique opportunity to clean up the economy and create a solid foundation, but you've chosen a policy of not rocking the boat.
British police are investigating an incident on the London Underground this morning that is being treated as terrorism. 18 people were injured in an explosion at a West London metro station. The blast occurred on a packed rush-hour commuter train.
And I saw sort of the remnants of a flash and smoke and whatnot, and then people just started running towards me, and that was just as the moment as you pulled past the screen, the train had like...
I heard a big bang in my left-hand side, so I turned my head and I saw the big fireball surge to my side. And that time I realized why people were screaming and crying.
And there are many urgent inquiries ongoing now, with hundreds of detectives involved, looking at CCTV, forensic work and speaking to witnesses.
I never think it's helpful for anybody to speculate on what is an ongoing investigation. As I've just said, the police and security services are working to discover the full circumstances of this cowardly attack and to identify all those responsible.
There's no reason to be alarmed by the increased police presence. It's crucial we're all alert. It's crucial we're all vigilant.
President Kolinda Grabar-Kitarović has decided to dismiss Davor Lošo from the Homeland Security Council over controversial remarks he made in response to the border dispute with Slovenia. Lošo had said that, quote, Croatia's infantry could be in Ljubljana in 2 days, alluding to a possible escalation of the dispute to a military level.
The remarks made by Davor Lošo about Slovenia are absolutely unacceptable. They were offensive to our neighbor. Furthermore, they were incendiary, and right now we need to lower tensions. Croatia's policy, supported by the opposition, is that we must ease tensions with Slovenia, avoid encouraging incidents and conflict, and not to provoke reactions of this type from the Slovenian side.
The President took part this week in an annual forum of non-executive EU member presidents in Malta. The gathering focused on migrant flows and social cohesion in Europe.
Hello, good morning. How are you? At a time when our Union is prioritizing its attention on the promotion of a European pillar of social rights, I believe that it is essential for us to discuss the social dimension of our Union. I believe that it is also our responsibility as heads of state to ensure that questions of social justice, of socio-economic inclusion, and of democratic participation are kept high on the agenda of our respective countries and across our family of nations.
European Commission Vice President Frans Timmermans has announced measures to curb abuses in party financing for European Parliament elections. Up until now, funding was distributed equally among all European parties. The Commission now proposes to allocate financing on the basis of voter share in European elections. Timmermans also proposed reforming the European Citizens Initiative, where the EU is required to respond to a petition signed by 1 million citizens from at least 1/4 of the member states. The reforms would simplify the rules for participation. A report from Croatia's intelligence agency, the SOA, states that there are 7 Croatian nationals currently on territory controlled by ISIS. It also notes that in Croatia's immediate neighborhood to the southeast, there are more than 10,000 Salafists, many of whom are Islamist radicals. The SOA believes that the chance of a terrorist attack on Croatian soil is minimal, but the possibility should not be dismissed entirely. The agency also warns Croatian institutions have been attacked 7 times by foreign-sponsored hackers.
There definitely is a rise in extremism in individuals who are either part of an extremist group or have turned radical on their own, which is a specific new threat because of new and social media. We simply must work with our neighbors on curbing extremism.
Croatia must remain a safe country. It must maintain good relations with its neighbors and avoid encouraging further radicalization by sending the wrong messages. To clarify, I'm talking about headlines reading, "There are 10,000 jihadists ready to attack Croatia." That's not true. And the SOA never reported that.
Bids were opened today in the tender for the construction of the long-awaited Pelješac Bridge. 3 bidders responded to the tender: the Italian-Turkish consortium led by Astaldium, Germany's Strabag, and the China Road and Bridge Corporation. The estimated cost of the bridge and access roads is €240 million, but all 3 bids exceeded that figure. In sports, Croatia's Davis Cup team have started their World Group playoff clash against Colombia in Bogota. In the opening match, Marin Cilic defeated Alejandro Gonzalez 6-1, 6-4, 6-1. Viktor Galovic is making his debut for the Davis Cup team in the second match of the day against Santiago Giraldo. Aleksandar Petrovic is no longer coach of the Croatian national basketball team. His fate was sealed by Croatia's defeat at the hands of Russia in the final 16 of the European Basketball Championships. Petrovic and the Basketball Federation have agreed on the split. The name Ivica Skelin, assistant national and split coach, is being floated as a possible replacement for Petrovic.
Tomorrow's forecast calls for partly to predominantly cloudy skies with occasional showers in the western reaches of the interior and along the northern Adriatic. Gorski Kotar and the north coast may see some heavier downpours. Dalmatia and the east of the country will stay mostly sunny and dry. There will be a moderate to high southeasterly wind on the coast. The northern sections will see a southwesterly. Morning lows will range from 10 to 15 degrees in the interior and from 17 to 22 on the Adriatic. The day's highs will be between 17 and 23 for most of the country. Highs will reach between 26 and 29 in Dalmatia, Slavonia, and Baranja. The 3-day outlook for continental Croatia calls for rain overnight Saturday and on Sunday morning. There is a chance of heavier showers, especially in the west. Skies will clear by the afternoon. Conditions will be unstable next week with occasional rain, but temperatures will be slightly cooler. On the coast, it will also be wet and stormy overnight Saturday and in the first part of the day on Sunday, especially in the north. However, there could also be some heavier downpours in Dalmatia. From Monday on, conditions will vary. Expect occasional showers. Winds will be mostly moderate westerlies and northwesterlies, with a southwesterly mixed in the north.
And that brings us to the end of our program. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.